This is our music room that we built specially for the Gasparini, which is a band organ. And we've got a carousel over here. We have a banjo orchestra in here. And this is probably the pinnacle of the collection. It's a Welty. There's only 14 in the world, and this is the only one that's painted pipes. And it's an organ and piano and drums. It's just beautiful. So it's a fun room. Anyway, I wanted you just to see this room.
Oh, thank you. It's beautiful.
I'm just gonna pop back. Go ahead.
House called Channel Bells. You know why it's called Channel Bells? Because out in that channel out there, there's a bellboy that goes along, going back and forth. They named this house got a name called Channel Bells.
We can hear them. There's a couple of them out there.
And we're going to show you today the wonderful world of mechanical music. This is music that is made by mechanical means instead of on your iPod and things like that. And as a part of that, we are also going to explain, sort of, how computers came about, because much of what you're going to see today was a precursor of computers. And so we're going to take you on an adventure of about 100 to 150 years ago. Sounds like a long time ago when you're our age. But it's only a couple of generations. Probably your great-grandparents lived in these times. It was a time before radio, before TV, before computers, and there was really no way of having music in the home if you wanted music, unless you did it yourself. You'd have to take piano lessons or violin lessons and learn how to make your own music. Well, about 150 or 200 years ago, some people in Switzerland invented a music box. A little box like this one right here that plays music. And for the first time, this allowed people to have music in their home, that anybody could make music instead of having to learn how to play. And so this was quite an invention. And the boxes initially were very, very simple, very plain. But inside was this little cylinder box. We can all see that. And it consisted of this cylinder with see the little pins on it? And those pins would go around and pluck these teeth, and that would make music. This was a cottage industry, they called it, and one home would make the box, another one would make the cylinder, another one would make the teeth, and another home would assemble it all. But
What's the approximate age, honey, on that? It's about 8?
mid-1800s. 1830.
The first music box was
1792.
1792, so this isn't that much.
Right? Going to serenade us with the second one, I think. And it had a little key like this. And you could wind it up like that. So this was really a very significant invention, to be able to have something that would make music in your home. Well, as time went by, this became a big industry, and the boxes got fancier and fancier. They had beautiful inlaid wood on them, and inside they had more and more things going on, not just the cylinder, but they had bells and people that would gong things and stuff like that. So, I'll play this little guy. Can you see it? Who knows where Switzerland is? You guys know where Switzerland is? Okay, doing geography and all that. All right, good. The Swiss were the big manufacturers of these. And as time went by, now one of the problems, as you can imagine, with this is that cylinder only has, initially had one tune, and then they found some ways to maybe put 4 or 5 or 6 tunes on it. But that was it. So you had to listen to the same music over and over again. That'd be pretty boring after a while, wouldn't it? Just having to listen to the same thing. So the Swiss got inventive, and they made what is called an interchangeable cylinder box.
Sasha, Sasha, she's laid out. Sasha, come over here. Sorry guys, it'll happen a million more times.
The first group felt that was the highlight of the trip.
Yeah.
So they made these so you could take this cylinder out and replace the cylinder and put different cylinders in, and this gave you a lot more music. See how that would work? And they also started making boxes that did even more things. And this particular one is interesting because it's called a station box. And you know why it was called a station box? It used to be in a railroad station. And people waiting for the train would come along and they'd put a Swiss franc in there and play some music and watch the dolls dance waiting for the train. And this became a way that people could make money. So somebody might buy a number of these things, put them in a number of different train stations and go around and collect the money at the end of the day. I don't happen to have a Swiss franc, but I do have a penny. And we'll see if we can get this to work. Just as I thought it doesn't. Well, I encourage it a little bit here. That's all mechanical with springs and all that. The only electric is the light in there. That's all that electricity is doing. The rest of it's mechanical. So the Swiss thought they were really pretty good figuring out how to make these interchangeable cylinders to give you more music. The only problem is, if you've looked at those cylinders, look how complex they are. Imagine having to figure out the notes and drill the holes in all the right spots and put those pins in. Labor intensive. Very expensive. So the Germans, not to be outdone, the Germans wanted to get into this game themselves, And they came up with an invention that really revolutionized the whole mechanical music area. They came up with what's called a disc music box. And on the bottom of this, you see all these little things. These are like the pins on the cylinder box, and that these would go around and plunk the teeth and make the music. Suddenly, these could be stamped out very inexpensively. You could just stamp these out by the tens of thousands, and just a piece of metal, very inexpensive. So the Germans came along and they really put the Swiss out of business, you know, because they have this whole less expensive way of doing things. You want to tell us about this particular one we're going to play?
This actually happens to be the first music box we got. It was about 1997, and we had never seen any of things like what you're going to see today. And this was up in an antique store where we saw the first one in Vermont. And what's really unique about this, if I open it up, those discs that he just showed you, there are 12 of them here. And when you put the coin in and push it in, one of them goes up. This is actually, I don't know if any of you this morning, nobody knew what a jukebox was. Back a number of years ago, you'd go and there would be records, and you could punch in. Sometimes you go to these diners and they have it. Well,
Johnny Rockets.
Yeah.
Do you guys know what records are?
Johnny
Yeah.
Rockets.
Yeah.
You know what records are, right?
This is actually
This is like
the
a record.
first, if you want to call it a record machine. So if I put in a
So
nickel,
this is really the first record, you can think of it that way,
Yeah.
in which the music was encoded onto a disc.
and if we're lucky, one of them comes up. Ah, there it goes. And this is beautiful
And it's
music.
all mechanical.
It was beautiful.
Isn't that
That was
beautiful? That's how we
beautiful.
fell in love with this, because it is, and it fills this room so beautifully.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
You said this was your first one, so you just started collecting these in 1997? That's
Yep.
just when your collection started?
Yep, we moved
Okay.
here in '95.
Uh-huh.
And just kind of fell into this in an antique store. Like, what's that? And the guy played it, and we had the reaction you just had.
Not
It was
this
like,
Gorgeous.
not this one, but it was the same idea. The interesting thing about this is, like he told you that the Germans put the Swiss out of business. Well, Edison. I'm drawing a blank. Thomas Edison, I'm alright. Thomas Edison created what many of you may have seen, which are these phonograph machines, and they have the big horns, and then record players came. They were very scratchy. We would never play that for you because it's just not quality music. But it could be so massively produced so that everybody could have it in their home that it put basically it put mechanical music out of business, which is really a shame when you see all the pieces we have in the house and they're beautiful music. So this is a Regina, which happens to be US. And so Regina went out of business, so then they made vacuum cleaners. Regina vacuum cleaner. Your parents might know more.
Parents might know the Regina.
Right. So it's kind of funny,
Coming
you
into
know.
vacuum cleaners, you gotta start making music.
But anyway, it's a shame because the Edison machine actually put.
It's a shame though. They make these
Mechanical.
beautiful things and they started making
And
vacuum
you would
cleaners.
never play the old phonographs because they're
Yeah.
so scratchy, you know, whatever.
Right.
So now we're going to go into this room. So go on in, go all the way in. Yeah, that one's gorgeous. Yeah, that's what they'll go home remembering. Some can go on this side and here. Go ahead.
Come on over here. Let's all try to get
Oh,
over
you're gonna
here.
go that way? All right.
So
Go
play
around.
another couple of these cylinder
He's gonna
boxes.
do it different than we did this one.
Yeah, I gotta do a little bit.
Okay.
But here's another beautiful music box. And this is interesting because it has 4 different combs in it instead of just a single comb. And it plays 8 different tunes.
So you can see better.
And
Can you show them the top of the box? Just
sure. And yes,
see how much
now
it's getting more
and more beautiful
developed.
inlays and all of that.
Amazing the condition that these are all in. You've got
We restored a number of these. And I'm going to show you this one down here. This one is a particularly lovely box. You
Sasha,
can see the inlay there. See the sphinxes and the elephant. Sort of has an Egyptian type of theme. And when we open this up, we find another beautiful box. And this one, which we restored, has something most unusual, and it has a little drummer. And again, this is all mechanical, and there's some linkages that make him play the drums.
it's called a bell box.
Cool. Alright.
Do you buy these in this condition, or do you fix them up yourself?
Both? Both.
Both.
The one here, we got from the guy in Switzerland, which is where we got the station box. It was exactly like this.
But he had restored it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the one down here and the one that you listen to, the bell box there, and there's another one over there, they came in such awful condition, we had to send them out. And one of them, wasn't it, about 7 years the woman had? Took her a long time because she had so many people. It's hard to find people to. Okay, gather around this one. And you can, some can go over here. Shorter ones in the front.
Go around back
We
here.
get the shorter ones in the front.
You can stand back there.
This is one of my favorites. This is also from Switzerland. Actually, the same man, the station box, the dancing dolls in there. And we've never seen another one like this. It's the only one.
We need somebody to operate it, Dale.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
get a kid
Would
to...
you like, yeah, I forgot. Too busy talking. All right, go ahead. You can put that in there. another?
Need
Go ahead,
another volunteer.
somebody, go ahead. All right, go ahead, we can all take a turn, go ahead. It's sweet, it is. It's got pigs.
It's adorable.
Does it play different songs?
Yes.
It's got, it's a-
4 songs on it.
We feel very lucky to have this one because we've never seen another one, so and it's adorable. All right, now
Well, let's.
you wanna go here? Okay.
Yeah, let's sit
All
down.
right,
on the
you can
couch.
go and sit on the couch, as many as we can squeeze there. He's gonna show you some automata. Just squeezing.
Should all be able to fit on there, I think.
So, we've talked about the Swiss, and we talked about the Germans. Who
Just
knows?
move, wait, honey, just wait, just move this way. So, there you go. Just make it a little more room over there. Perfect.
Who can name another big country in Europe? Famous country. Go.
France?
France, very good. So the French saw what the Germans and the Swiss were doing, and they wanted to get in the game too. They didn't want to sit on the sidelines, but they needed a something to do something a little different than what the Germans and the Swiss were doing. So they specialized in what's called automata or automatons, and automata are music boxes that have moving figures on them. And some of these things are incredibly fancy. They're tall, they do magic tricks, they smoke cigarettes, they do all kinds of crazy things. And we have a few from France that we'll show you. We'll start out with this little ballerina here. So she's sort of nice. Then I have this guy who does some acrobatics.
This was a favorite of this morning's group. He's doing one hand, I don't know if you can see it from there.
It's hard work. That's that one. Our little acrobat. These are the original clothes as far as we know. They're a little
Tattered.
tattered, but some people say it's good to keep them original. But. And this is a very fun piece that, again, we've never seen one like this one anywhere. So that's our little dog and pony.
It shows.
The French also became interested in birds, and they had mechanical bird things.
So there's 3 birds in there.
Oh, no end to crazy things. I also made things called bird boxes, which were fancy things, like this. See all the stones and all of it on there. Get an idea of that. And this is a bird box, and this bird is, sometimes he'll come out and sing, sometimes he won't. Sometimes when he gets singing, if he has a good audience, he'll keep singing and not go back into his cage. We never quite know what this guy's going to do. We'll see what we can get him to do here. There we go.
Look at the little wings.
Yeah, and they're real feathers.
Really?
Doing his wings. Oops.
Oh, must have been that end of the couch. All right. Well,
Okay.
the next
Then
one.
as we got into the early 1900s, they developed machines that had all kinds of instruments called orchestrion, and they played off a paper roll with holes in it. And I'll tell you, I'll tell them about that at the end.
Yeah. Okay, as Jerry just said, this is called an orchestrion, and it started out with the top nut here, and it was just, this is organ, and the organ pipes are behind that piano over there, and the bellows are in the basement, and a piano, okay? So this man, Eakins, bought this, and he got this creative idea of putting all of these instruments in here. And there's a castanets and a triangle, drums, cymbals, you name it, it's in here. After he died, his collection was broken up, and Disney, Walt Disney down in Florida, bought this. And they put it in their Roaring Twenties museum, and people used to go and play it there. Well, it got to be a little bit more, they had to take care of all the mechanical music that they had in their Roaring Twenties, and so they decided to break it up. We bought it from the auction from Disney, and this actually had appeared, you guys probably, you won't know this, but What's My Line, and I've got a secret many years ago, your mom's, this was on it. So this is actually a famous piece.
Old TV shows.
Old 50s, 60s, and there's a record that was made from this, and we have those records. So we got it from Disney, and it's a toe-tapping fun.